Hello there. You might have noticed that Elon Musk has been going around adding paid for by government on a lot of media pages over the last couple of days, including RNZ, but not RNZ News. At the same time, you get organisations like Voices for Freedom crowing about this, despite the fact that they obviously have large amounts of funding that they refuse to disclose. Kind of hypocritical, but nothing unexpected from these people. So let's actually have a look at how New Zealand media works, how our freedom of democracy works within that context, and how well we rank on the international scale. So research done last year by Victor Pickard and Timothy Neff, who were both at Penn State University, into the health of media around different democracies around the world, had a look at research around 33 countries. It was actually called Funding Democracy, Public Media and the Democratic Health in 33 countries. So you can go and look it up if you need to. It actually identified 5 different sorts of funding models across the world. It went from one end of the spectrum, which was state-controlled, where you basically got money from the government and the government said what it was that you had to say, which was places like Botswana and Tunisia, to the other end of the spectrum, which is what you would call a democratic corporatist, which is basically, it's a democracy where corporations run the media, like America with Fox News or the New York Post. In between, there's another sort of 3 options there. You've got a direct funding model, a commercial public model, and a liberal pluralist model, which is where we fit, liberal pluralist. So the thing to remember about a liberal pluralist media model is a couple of things. One, they don't tend to have the biggest market share, but that's not reliant on how much money that they get. Secondly, they have stops, checks and balances in place to make sure that while they might get government funding, there's no editorial control in place for that government funding. Basically, it's here, go do the job that we need you to do. And the reason that that funding model works here is because our market is so small, we can't guarantee that there's actually the commercial interest to ensure that you're going to be able to hit that audience and pay for that media to be around. So how well do we do out of this? Well, this particular graph here shows you the democracy indices, public media funding levels, GDP, and audience shares. So basically how much money gets pumped in per person, what the audience share is, and how well ranked that comes up with your democracy levels per country. We came 4th. 4th! That's pretty fucking good. It should also be noted that this was across multiple platforms, New Zealand On Air, Radio New Zealand, and TVNZ. It's not just a single output, it looks at all of our media in its entirety. And it works out to be about $28.16 per New Zealander per year to pay for this kind of media. The study found some other fascinating things in a really American context, like the fact that those states that have like the worst history of racial segregation also have the worst history of publicly funding their media, which is one of the reasons why publicly funded media like the model that we use here is so important. The money is there to tell the stories without that editorial coming in from the government, with enough funding for them to be able to do that properly. So yes, while Elon's little thing is technically accurate that it's government funding, there is a wide variety and a large spectrum of how that works around the world. That little mark is designed to do nothing more than to bring into doubt exactly how unbiased your media is, and it doesn't always work on a case-by-case basis.